Hey everyone, Joey here, and today we're going to do a video all about some cool features and tips in emulators that you might not know about. Because programs like RetroArch are insanely complicated. There is so many settings and options that it is almost impossible to know what everything does. So today, let me share some nice tips and tricks for a few emulators that I found to be pretty useful. And so let's start with RetroArch. And one of the first things that I change in RetroArch is making it so that when you fast forward, it mutes the audio. We all know how to fast forward in RetroArch, right? And if you don't, I have guides on how to do so. But you've likely noticed that it speeds up the music or sound, and that can get quite irritating in a lot of games. So why not have it mute when you are fast forwarding? To do so, just head to Settings, Audio, and you're going to find Fast Forward Audio Mute. Just enable it. If you use Rewind and you hate the same thing, you'll find that option right above it. Let's go ahead and stay in RetroArch now, and I know that this one is one that a lot of people should know, but I know a lot of you don't, and it will actually save lives. Not real lives, but your save file lives. Have you ever been playing a game and you accidentally pushed load state or save state? Load state being the more dangerous one because suddenly it took you 3 hours behind and you just started to rage because you lost 3 hours of progress. Or maybe you had a save state that you really liked and now you just overrode it. Guess what? You can undo both of them. While in the game, open the in-game RetroArch menu. Head to Save States and you're going to see two options: Undo Save State and Undo Load State. As long as you didn't exit RetroArch after accidentally loading or saving your state, you can undo whatever you did. I know, this is gorgeous. Last tip with RetroArch: devices are getting a lot more powerful nowadays, and that makes it super difficult to use fast forward in a lot of games. Like Pokemon Blue, for example. It is just way too fast at the default settings. So how do you fix that? Well, we can throttle it. Head to Settings, Frame Throttle, and for fast forward rate, set it to something like 3x, which is what I like to use. But you can experiment here if you're finding that's not good enough for you. You can now actually see what is happening in the game once you make this change, which is awesome. It is important to note that this just throttles it. It won't magically make the game faster if your device isn't powerful enough for it. Let's jump over to Azahar now, the 3DS emulator, and I'm going to start with a game here, and it's Fire Emblem Awakening. My actual favorite Fire Emblem, but it has graphical issues, usually like black lines in the text. So how do you fix it? The easy answer, just use OpenGL. Head to Settings, Graphics, Graphics API, and change it to OpenGL. Text is all good now. Now you're probably looking for a tip like how do you reduce shader stutter on Azahar. And don't worry, that update is actually coming. They're doing a lot of work on their end with the devs. So just keep an eye on the updates because that is coming soon. But let's do another game, another usual problem, and it is Pokemon, and specifically the white Froakie problem and the white Froakie issue. It is not just Pokemon X and Y that has this issue. There are some other Pokemon games and some other sprites that have the same issue, and basically it just mismatches the colors. So you get a white Froakie instead of a blue one, which you might think is a shiny, but it isn't. There are two fixes that I know of. The first is turning on accurate multiplication in Settings and Graphics, and that'll fix that right up. This is actually the easiest way to fix things and what I would recommend. Now the other fix only applies to Snapdragon devices, but you can use a custom driver and that should fix it as well. In fact, you probably should be using custom drivers in Azahar if you have a Snapdragon device like the AYN Thor or the Odin 2 Portal and so on. I've actually noticed some pretty substantial benefits to using a custom driver in Azahar. So how do you, a Snapdragon user, get drivers? Let's get into this now, which will bring us to another emulator, which is Eden. Eden is a Switch emulator, and I don't really have any tips for it, but we can use Eden to get some easy custom drivers. Head to Settings, GPU Driver Manager, and click Fetch at the bottom left. Once again, this is for Snapdragon users only, but you're going to see here that it says Recommended Driver. And for my Thor, it says the Mr. Purple T23. So it is a bit out of date, but you could still go with this one if you wanted to. However, right under that, you're going to see Mr. Purple Turnip. And if we expand, you can see all of the versions and the newest versions, as well as the download links. If you want, you can be safe and you can just get the recommended version that they show here, go to click Show Downloads, and it'll download it for you. Now, if you back a screen, and you'll see it right here in your list of Eden drivers, but it also downloaded to your device as well. Now, the one problem here is that where it downloads is a folder that might be inaccessible to a lot of devices. It will work on the AOI and Thor and Odin 2 Portal, but I can't speak to other Snapdragon devices. So alternatively, you can just use the Mr. Purple Turnip driver GitHub instead to download the driver. And it's likely easier for a lot of people. You just go to it in your browser, you click download, and you have it. But if you do have access, you can just copy it out of Android, Data, dev.eden.eden_emulator, Files, GPU drivers. This is where all of the drivers get downloaded from Eden. And like I said, the GitHub might be easier in the browser, but if you want to grab it from Eden, you can grab it here. Personally, I mostly just use Eden to find out what driver I should be using, and then I can go to the browser and grab it, but you have options. Either way, to bring this back to Azahar, once you have the actual driver zip, in Azahar, go to Options, GPU Driver Manager, click Install, bottom right, and navigate to that driver zip. Then make sure to use it as a driver on the next screen. Let's go ahead and jump into Nether SX2 now, the PS2 emulator on Android, and this is something that I show in all of my Nether SX2 guides. But just in case you missed it, you should be using folder-based memory cards. Now, if you've emulated PS2 at all and you've played multiple games, you know that your memory card fills up super fast. And then you have to use a second memory card, and that could also fill up pretty quickly. And then you have to create a third, and you have to swap them out, and it becomes a whole disaster. Or you could just use a folder-based memory card that has no limits, and you never have to worry about memory card space ever again. There's no downside. This is pretty simple to set up. Head to Settings, App Settings, Memory Cards, and click Create New Card. Just call it Mem Card or something. It doesn't really matter what you name it. And then make sure that you select Folder for the type of card. Then click Create. Scroll down, make sure Card Enabled is enabled, and then click Card Name and select that card that we just created, the folder-based memory card. Boom, it'll be using it going forward now. You can also repeat these steps for a second folder-based memory card for memory card slot 2, but it is not really necessary. It'll never actually be used. Keep in mind that this won't transfer existing saves to this new card, so it is best to do this before you actually play any games. There is probably a memory card editor somewhere in the world that you could probably change things around and do all of that, but I don't really know how to do that. Let's talk about Melon DS, the Nintendo DS emulator, next, and specifically the Melon DS Fork by Sapphire Rhodonite. That is what we all use on our AYN Thor. But also, you can use this same fork on any single screen device as well. And I've actually found that it's the best version of Melon DS to use on Android right now. And it includes all of the fixes that the main Melon DS has, but it also has two amazing features that Melon DS doesn't have. The first is you can finally fix Pokemon games like SoulSilver and HeartGold, because those have black line issues. As you're walking around, you'll see little black lines show up on screen. Gets a little bit annoying. To fix this, head to the three dots top right, Settings, Video, and enable Conservative Coverage Fix. Leave it as 150, then enable Apply to Repeat and make sure Apply to Clamp is disabled. Head back to the game and those lines should now be gone. If, however, you still see them, the developer suggests trying 200 or 100 instead of 150, so play with those numbers a little bit. One last feature of this fork, and this is for RetroAchievements users, but guess what? You can unlock achievements while offline. A lot of people have been asking for this for years, and you can now do that with Nintendo DS games. At least for softcore achievements right now. Hardcore is supposed to come in the future, but it's not there yet. Either way, this is still awesome. You have to open the game at least once while online. So let me use Pokemon White for an example. Open the game, and then let's close it. going to turn off the Wi-Fi now, and then I'm going to reopen the game, and you're going to see at the bottom it says softcore offline, no internet. Now, go ahead and play and earn whatever achievements. The next time you go online and reopen the game, it's going to detect the pending achievements that you earned and then sync them. You can also hit the settings cog on the right of the game on the game list. And in the Retro Achievements tab, there's a sync button there to sync them manually without opening the game. I would absolutely love this feature to show up on every single emulator, because this is a game changer for anybody that likes Retro Achievements and for anybody that's had a problem with having to be online at any time while having to earn Retro Achievements. And speaking of Retro Achievements users, or really just anybody that loves Wii games, did you know that Retro Achievements just came to Nintendo Wii? Well, if you didn't, now you do. But did you also know that you can use a real Wiimote and Nunchuk with Dolphin on Android or PC to play those games? Yeah, you can. Using my AYN Thor here, and you're gonna need the May Flash Dolphin bar, which I highly recommend because it makes everything plug and play. I can't speak to any other options. I know the May Flash 1 is perfect because that's what I use. You're also going to need a USB-A to C adapter because the Dolphin bar is USB-A and most of these handhelds like the Thor are USB-C. All of this is linked in the description so you don't have to guess. Plug it all in and then turn on the bar. Put it on either the top or bottom of your TV or monitor, since I assume that you're likely going to be docking this device to a TV or monitor. Then hit the little switch on the back of the Dolphin bar to tell it where you put it, either top or bottom. Put it into mode 4, which is one of the options on the bar, and then push the sync button on the bar and then the sync button on your actual Wiimote. They're going to connect to each other right away, and you are good to go. Open Dolphin, go to Settings, Wii Input, Wii Remote 1, and change it to Real Wii Remote. It's going to pop up asking to connect to the bar. Click OK. If you're on PC, you also want to check the little option that says Continuous Scanning. So that's just an extra option on PC. Now, just open a Wii game that uses the Wii Remote, like Super Mario Galaxy, and you can enjoy playing. It's awesome, right? Okay, one last cool Dolphin tip. Did you love the GameCube intro when you had a GameCube back then? Yeah, we all did. So why not have that on Dolphin? This one requires the GameCube BIOS file. Unfortunately, I can't tell you how or where to get this, but I can tell you it is named ipl.bin. Sometimes it's renamed something else. GameCube BIOS files are renamed something else. You can just rename it to ipl.bin. Once you have it, you want to head to Android, Data, or .dolphinmu, Files, GC, and you're going to see 3 folders, EUR, USA, and JAP for the different regions. There is a BIOS file for each region. So if you have the USA one, just put it inside of the USA folder. If you have the others, you can put them inside of their corresponding folders. Depending on your device, you might not have access to these folders. Once again, AYN Thor, Odin 2 Portal definitely do, but I can't speak to every device. Android does lock this down for some devices. You can try an app called Z Archiver right off the Play Store. If that doesn't work, then unfortunately there isn't much I can do. Head into Dolphin after, Settings, Config, GameCube, and turn off Skip Main Menu. Boot up a GameCube game and enjoy the nice intro. That's everything I have for you today. I hope that this video helped. I wanted to make a video of just random cool features and things in different emulators that I've discovered over the years that maybe not a lot of people know about. So let me know if this helped you. Don't forget to like and sub to help the channel grow. Come join me on the Discord to talk all about retro gaming, and hope you all have a good one.